Well, I would fundamentally disagree with that. In Britain, from my parents came here, there's always been a culture of resistance. We didn't lay down and take it. I remember my dad came here in 1955, and the first person that was killed from that, people killed before, but from that first wave from the Windrush was Kelso Cochran, who was killed in 1957, was it? And my mother and father were here at the time when it happened. They didn't sit down. They weren't organised there, so they were new to the country, but they went. My mother, my father, and a group of these, they went to Notting Hill and they battled with those flipping thugs. The same again in the 70s. My family, I can talk about my family, and it's documented. I had a lot of older brothers and cousins, and they couldn't walk in Lewisham without the police brutalising them, busting their heads and all sorts of crap. We didn't sit down. We fought against it. At that time, there was the Black Power movement in America, which came with, and I think it was, what's the one that came again? Yeah, Michael X came and mobilised people here. My brother was part of that movement. So when we, as youngsters, we heard their organising, joining different organisations, planning to do whatever they had to do. And when the National Front decided that they were going to come to New Cross, they were always in Bermondsey. We said no. I was, 14 at the time. I couldn't even tell my mum I was leaving the house, but I followed them. And because there was a lot of young girls of my age, a bit younger and a bit older, our brothers didn't want us to get harmed. So what they did, they gave us the marbles, and they said to us, when the police come on their horses, because they knew they were coming, throw the marbles, the horses can't get up with them. And that was my contribution. I was 14. So when people say, about resistance, I'm angry that we still have movements like Black Lives Matter in the 21st century. I'm angry, but you know what that's caused from? From a lot of us forgetting that we were black, forgetting that we were going to catch hell in Britain, forgetting that, yes, we were now settled communities and there were new communities coming and they were catching hell. They forgot, but the thing with those communities, no disrespect, once they've been here for a little while, they can just ease on down because their colour is white. They can keep it, they might have an accent, but second generation, we didn't have that option. And a lot of us as black people from Africa, from the Caribbean, we got rich and switched. And now, with austerity breeds racism. That's what happens with austerity. Wherever I'll give you an example, I'll tell you something. In the early 1920s in Germany, the chief rabbi said that Germany was the most tolerant place to be in Europe. A lot of Americans, the artists, the jazz artists, the people that wrote poems and sang, they left America because they were catching hell in America. They came to Germany in the 20s. What happened? There was an economic collapse, as you all know. And I don't need to say Hitler's rise to fame or infamousy came shortly after that. So when there is periods of austerity, economic downturn, as they like to call, or printing their money as they like to do, we as black people always get it the worst. Now you see with the councils, everybody's got to cut. I'm sorry if I'm going on, but everybody's got to cut their services. Check the records. Who are losing their jobs? Black women. Who's more disproportionately made redundant? Black women. People need to wake up and smell the coffee. I don't want to be here talking about Black Lives Matter. I know that. I know that. I want to know what we're going to do about it. I've got my ideas, but what are we going to do about it? And just picking up, sorry, from what Kumar said, sorry, in relation to our histories, where we've come from, where we are. If you're going to be an activist, or you're going to support any movement to challenge injustice, if you don't know the history of how things got there, you can't challenge effectively. You cannot do that. They talked about the sus laws on that film. Now, the sus laws was, if you're walking and you're black, you look suspicious, they just arrest you. We fought against that and it was abolished. What come next? Stop and search. That's the history. That's the journey. Sus becomes stops and search. So history is important. It allows you to know who you're dealing with and allows you to know how to combat it. Finally, we've been activists for a number of years. Look at what we did. Learn from what we did. Use what works well. Forget what doesn't work well. In the days of the abolition of slavery, and I'll conclude with this, the campaigning tactics are still used today. The only difference is technological advancement. But the thing of lobbying MPs, printing leaflets, it was there, that we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think some people think that we do have to come up with some new way to challenge racism or inequalities. No, you don't. Just follow the proven track record.